electrical system has gone down. He said, look, I'm tired, I'm retired, I'm busy watching television, I don't have time to come back. It will pay you $5,000. I'll be there in 15 minutes. He went there, met him at the office, said, I think I know what's wrong, and he went down and went into a tunnel, opened up a little electrical box, looked in, grabbed a hammer out of his pocket, whack! There was a little spark, and all of a sudden the entire electrical system back on. They said, thank you, and I look forward to your check. And the next day he got a call from the office, said, we got a problem. I said, no, you owe me the money. He said, no. We just got a note from accounting that they need an itemized bill. I said, no problem. So we went on email, typed it up, and said, an itemized bill, number 1, hitting relay with hammer, $5. Knowing where to hit, $4,995. We got his money. But you're getting paid for what you know and not the hard work. And so the federal investment in high quality career and technical education, accessible to all students, will help address this shortage and this need. We know we also have a challenge in making sure those jobs are actually created. We heard that we're in global competition for jobs. So we know we're not going to compete with those jobs in the future by paying lower wages. When you come to the United States, you can make less money. No, we're not going to be able to compete like that because we're not going to pay lower wages. And it's also pointed out that you don't have to be next to your coworkers. If you can work across the hall from your coworkers, with present technology, you can work across the globe from your coworkers. If you're manufacturing a product, it can be shipped from anywhere overnight. And we also know that used to be a time when if you wanted to build a factory, you had to build it here because you needed financing. Now with worldwide banking, you can put that factory anywhere you want. The competitive advantage we have is if you move your business and bring your jobs to the United States, you know you can get well-trained, well-educated workers. And when we lose that advantage, then we've lost really the sole competitive advantage we have. We also have to make sure we're educating people for the jobs of the future. Unfortunately, that's a moving target. You can just ask bank tellers what happened to their jobs. Used to be you had to go to the bank about every week to cash your check or deposit your check. Most people don't go inside a bank all year. And so you don't have the bank tellers that you used to have. You don't have people at the airport. You have a whole lot of people checking you in. Yeah, you check yourself in. The only thing you need an employee for is to fix the baggage label to your suitcase. So you don't have the number of people there because of technology. Artificial intelligence is going to make life difficult for a whole category of workers. When driverless cars, that's the next target. Driverless cars are going to eliminate millions of jobs. Taxi drivers, truck drivers, and will lose their jobs because the truck doesn't need a driver anymore. Delivery and whatnot can be done not by driving a car, but by the driverless car bringing it to you. So we have to make sure that we're actually creating, training people for the jobs that will actually be there. Mr. Crawford said that any job where you don't actually have to be on site is vulnerable to elimination. And so we need to make sure that we not only create the jobs, but we have to make sure that we're preparing people for the future jobs, and it's important to make sure that today's CTE programs are doing that. And it's also important that CTE programs not be reduced to the vocational education of the past. CTE must engage students with an integrated curriculum, core academic content, real work, real world work-based relevance, and we have to make sure that those students who are taking CTE programs aren't in a rut that they can't get out of. It used to be if you chose to shop in the 10th grade, and that was it for the duration. Now we have to make sure that they're learning the basics, because if you're not learning the basics, communication skills, computational skills, if you're not learning the basics, you're not going to be able to continue from job to job, and you know you're going to be in approximately 7 jobs in your career, not just one, and do that for 40 years. You're going to have to be able to learn the new jobs. If you don't know the basics, you're not going to be able to survive. A high school student has to learn the basics, and if you learn it in vocational education of the future, you're just learning the basics in another setting. And you have to also make sure that if you have chosen career and technical education, that you're not prevented from changing your mind and going to a 4-year liberal arts college. And so that's going to be a challenge to make sure that if you change your mind, you can make that choice. But the career and technical education of the future has got to be different from what it was in the past. So programs must meet labor market needs in preparing students for successful, high-demand jobs that offer living wages, employer benefits, and opportunities for meaningful career advancement. When done right, these programs can be tools to close opportunity gaps and provide a second chance to students who may have become disconnected with school or the workforce. High-quality CTE programs can play a strong role in dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline. We already heard that they can serve as a school engagement program to promote attendance and show real-world application of theoretical academic concepts. The clear, real-life application of CTE courses should help students recognize career opportunities that they may have seemed otherwise unattainable or irrelevant. Such CTE programs can also serve as reentry programs for giving juveniles leaving detention facilities a better chance to reintegrate into society and an educational system. About a year and a half ago, Congress passed the Replacement for No Child Left Behind, named Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, requires states to align the CTE programs with general education. It doesn't say exactly how to do it, but you have to align those programs so that the young people have career opportunities and are getting the proper education. The House recently passed the reauthorization of CTE. It passed the House, hadn't passed the Senate yet. Tim Kaine has indicated that there are relatively fewer real advocates for CTE in the Senate, but he also said he's working on it. But that bill would ensure the opportunity for underserved students to participate in high-quality CTE programs, increased flexibility to serve students in juvenile justice and correctional institutions, balance state and local flexibility with accountability, including making sure they have dual enrollment programs. Last year, I spoke at Paul D. Camp Community College in Franklin. Their graduation, in the middle of the program, you had all the young people in caps and gowns in the middle of the program. Somebody asked, well, how many of you are still in high school? And about a third of the hands went up. They're getting certificates so they can go right to work, or the couple had associate's degrees, but most had completed a course so that they would be ready for work. Make sure we improve collaboration between employers and educational institutions. There's a collaboration between NASA and the Virginia Community College System. That's a great example of CTE in action. The community college students on a technician or engineering track are able to participate in a 10-week on-the-job summer program that exposes them to NASA career opportunities and real-world application in the STEM fields. They receive a stipend, we might call earn to learn, and have the ability to gain permanent positions in NASA with NASA contractors or enter some other NASA program. The House CTE bill would also support work-based learning programs such as high-quality registered apprenticeship programs. There's a bipartisan recognition that registered apprenticeships are a proven model to create good jobs. And they can be really good jobs. There's, I won't name him, former governor, not Tim Kaine, but a former governor, had just been sworn in, and went over to the governor's mansion and noticed that there was a plumbing problem. Rather than call general services, because he knows you got to get 3 low bids and maybe weeks before he did what somebody else did, he just called the plumber. The plumber came over, looked at the situation, went out in the truck, grabbed a couple of tools, fixed it up, and in 15 minutes he was finished. Handed the governor a bill, $150. The governor said, $150? Good God Almighty, you have 15 minutes, $150? That's $600 an hour. But I was practicing law. I'd never charge anybody $600 an hour. And the plumber said, well, Governor, I know what you mean, because when I was a lawyer, I never charged anybody $600 an hour. In recognition of the good jobs and apprenticeships, the fiscal year 2018 omnibus budget included $145 million in investing in registered apprenticeship programs. But more can be done. That's why I'm supporting the Leveraging Effective Apprenticeships to Rebuild National Skills, or the LEARNS Act, which would provide a sustained investment in registered apprenticeship programs and pre-apprenticeship programs. It would also encourage these apprenticeship programs to coordinate secondary and post-secondary institutions, including high-quality CTE programs. So, ladies and gentlemen, when students have access to quality CTE programs, they're more engaged, less likely to drop out of school, they become more college or career ready. I'm encouraged that everybody in this room who sees the pathway to a high-skill career as an opportunity to improve educational equity for vulnerable students. We're pleased to see that you're here today, and you can count on Tim Kaine and myself to continue to support you on the federal level as we look forward to continued collaboration. Thank you very much.